Hello and welcome to the show. Today I'm shaking things up as I love to do. And this one is all about quitting and how quitting, when it is aligned, can actually enhance your creativity. And it may take you some creative maneuvers in order to quit. So recently I read the book by Annie Duke called Quit. And Annie Duke spent time as a poker player, really got interested in the psychology behind quitting and why some people would and some people wouldn't. About just like the song goes, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And so I wanted to bring this into the topic of creativity. There's this idea that she speaks to in the book, and it's also in psychology called the sunk cost fallacy. So our brains say to us, wait a minute, you've already got X amount of time invested in this. You shouldn't quit. You've got X amount of money invested in this. You've got X amount of energy invested in this. You shouldn't quit, even though there's a part of you that knows. So this could be related to a creative project that's just not going anywhere. You've had those before, right? You start it, does it mean you have to finish it? I just want to start to drop this question in today in this episode about allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to not only start something, but also stop something. And I'm here to say it really throws our brain for a loop to even consider that. That's why I wanted to bring this topic up, is because of this sunk cost fallacy. We can endure something too long. We can continue to push beyond what really makes sense. And, just opening the horizons to the idea that you can lightly start something and you could also lightly stop something. One of the examples in the book, which really drove it home, was um, she spoke about various people who have studied this whole concept and understand how it works in the brain and what a big deal it is to for the brain to actually decide to quit something. Even though we think it's actually harder to start something, it can actually be really hard to stop something. So, one of these researchers, um, who was well aware of all of this, decided that he wanted to um, reach. Apparently, on the East Coast, there are these 100 different peaks that within a certain span and with a certain elevation. And there's this special club that people can be in, kind of, you know, prestigious that you did all 100 of those climbs. And so this researcher had done 99 of them and was on his last climb. The weather started to turn on him and he was climbing with someone else. And the other climber said, "You know what? I'm turning back." And this researcher said, "I'm going for it." And he died. And that is like, I know that is like an extreme of all of this, but this is just an illustration to show you what we are working against and also what we can work with when it comes to our minds. So I just want you to think for a moment, is there something, let's think in the creative world that you live in, the creativity that is within you. Is there something that's actually become so heavy that it's not even worth keeping around? Now, I have witnessed this myself. I've witnessed this with others. I've witnessed this with clients. Um, it can be as simple as a project that you have sitting by your chair. Maybe you started it. I'm just thinking of a knitting project for an example. Maybe you started it, and you were all enthusiastic for whatever reason. You don't even have to understand the reason, okay? Whatever reason, right now, that project feels heavy. Every time you look at it, you feel guilty. Now, we know guilt and creativity don't go together. Guilt and motivation don't go together. So, if you have something like that, and every time you see it, it fills you with guilt, dread, something heavy, for goodness sakes, you have full permission to release it. Ask someone else if they would like to complete the project. Um, You can even, if it's back to that knitting project, you can undo it if you want and start fresh or give the yarn away or whatever. But I know that you understand me when I say, what is that thing? What is that thing that you see that you started that you haven't finished yet that just drains you every time you look at it? This is your permission. This is when you, while you're listening to this or when you get done listening to this, go do something with it, release it. If it's no longer yours, that can be the deal too. Sometimes we have ideas that we are step one in the idea, or maybe we're not even a part of it. The idea floats in and it's just like, oh, that's interesting. And the next thing you know, you hear about somebody else doing that very thing. Cool. You were just like kind of a part of the flow through. But I want you to start to opening your mind to how it's okay to start something and not complete it. Not everything has to go step one, step two, step three, step four with you. Just like maybe how your work is, that you do the certain aspect of the project and then you hand it off to this team and you understand that, right? Now, in your own life, please apply that principle that there could be things that you have started that you think you need to finish. And I know this is often around creative projects. I know people who have craft rooms and art rooms and different things full of projects. And you know what? They used to love going into that room, and now they dread it because it's full of projects that weigh them down. So if you have something like that that is weighing you down, and this might not have to do with art. This could have to do with something that you're working on in the garage. Maybe you're a mechanic. Maybe you work in the trades. Maybe you started writing a book. Maybe you began working on a quilt for your grandchild, whatever it is. Maybe you're remodeling. For whatever reason, if it hasn't moved forward, it could be that it's time to release it, or it's time to bring someone else in, or it's time to hire this out, or it's time to give this away. And what I want you to know is that you could feel lighter. Creativity likes lightness. Creativity likes playfulness. Creativity likes sparks. It doesn't want to be weighed down. It doesn't want to have weird pressure. It doesn't buy into that whole idea of sunk cost fallacy. So, what if you put X amount of time or dollars or energy into it? Let it go. Nature does this all the time. How, something starts and then maybe it stops. Something blooms once and then you never see it again. What we may deem is partial, nature may think is complete. So, like I like I put in the notes about this, quit for creativity's sake. Sometimes if you're not feeling the creative spark, it's because you have these things that it's time to release. So I invite you, even just for a moment right now, look around, think, is there anything like that in my life, in my space, in my mindset that I could just release? And sometimes I physically just kind of move my body and like, oh, like I'm kind of shaking it off. You know, just how like dogs do. They kind of shake like that a little bit. Sometimes I, here's a glimpse into to my own, just who I am. I will kind of like wiggle my body or even take my hand and kind of like as if I'm dusting something off, or even do that to my head as I'm dusting off my thoughts so that I'm sending a signal to invite in a fresh perspective. So that's what this whole topic is about. If you're not feeling a fresh energy around something, then it's time to do something different. It's time to do something different with it, release it, and you will definitely feel that release within yourself. Hope that this sparked an idea within you and that you have something that you are ready to quit. And that quit doesn't have to be a bad word. Quit can be a freeing word so that it frees you up for that next little creative muse.